Hello, Wildcat fans, and welcome to a very special edition of the Cat's Corner presented by Gates Chevrolet. I am your host, Coach P, and today, as promised, I am joined by the head coach of the boys basketball program here at Riley High School, the big cat himself, Alex Daniel. Welcome, Coach.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right, Coach. So we got a whole lot to cover. We're going to jump right into it here. You're going into your fourth year here at Riley. It's been a pretty successful run so far, 43-29 overall record. You came in that first year, had a 19-7 record, won a sectional championship with a guy named Blake Wesley. And then the following year, which would have been 21-22, you went 11-12, but you had a lot of young guys on that team. And the guys on that team really formed the foundation for the group that you have now. So let's talk about the process that you've gone through over the last couple of years, building up to the point that we're at now.
Yeah, I think that first year I walked in with obviously Blake there, and there was a group of 7 other seniors that really contributed to what we did that year and made it a special year. So, once that season was over, is kind of like, all right, what's next, and so we really went to work, and we ended up with a young group that you mentioned, like Marvin Schindler, Jalen Barbera, Brandon Williams, Keyshawn Wright, Jaden Stamps, that 25 junior class here. So really started with them. They were kind of thrown in the fire a little bit. But hopefully we see those that experience and that the games they have under the belt come to fruition here as they get into their junior and senior year.
So you threw a couple of names out there, and we are going to talk about a couple of guys now. Now the fact is, really, we could go up and down the roster and talk about every guy. Depth is probably going to be one of our strengths this year, right? But if you look at the scouting reports across the conference, I'm guessing there's a few names that are going to pop up on most of them. So we're gonna talk about a few of those guys real quick. And you mentioned one of them, Marvin Schindler. He's a junior this year, a little undersized, but just the heart of a lion, right? Double-figure scorer as a freshman a couple years ago, 15.7 per game last year in all-conference selection. Just talk about Marvin and what he means to the team and what he brings to the table.
Yeah. I do want to go back to the depth. We have 12 guys on roster. I feel completely comfortable with all 12 guys contributing to what we do this year. I think it's the depth is going to be one of our greatest assets, and look forward to plugging and playing guys in different ways. But for Marvin, yeah, he's a guy that's he played a ton as a freshman. He was a guy that we were trying to hold back, put the reins on a little bit. He just kept proving us wrong. He proved that he belonged, that we needed him out there. So he's a guy that's consistently progressed even since then. Had some huge games, and he's a guy that we know what we're getting from him. He can put the ball in the basket. He's electric. He can shoot it from the outside. He has some really crafty finishes, especially in the open court and around the basket. So we're excited about Marvin and really taking that next step leadership-wise, and being that guy that's been here and done that, and knows the system, knows what's expected, and he can push that off on other players.
And do you see him being a little more of a ball handler this year?
Yeah, we want to get the ball in Marvin's hands, and like I said, he can make open play or open floor plays for us, and so anytime he has the ball, I think it's a threat not only for him to score, but for anybody on the floor to score.
All right. The next guy I wanted to talk about, another all-conference selection, kind of a quiet guy, maybe an undersung kind of guy, Mansell Hill. Talk about Manny.
Yeah, he's only unsung to people that don't know.
Absolutely.
So I think our group understands that, and I definitely understand that. Our staff understands that. And Manny provides so much for us. He's Mr. Consistent for us. He's Mr. Reliable.
To that point, if I can jump in, last year, 12 points a game, 2.5 assists, 3 rebounds, a steal and a half. He shot 75% from the free throw line, 39% from three. So just to your point, really did a little bit of everything for you guys.
Yeah, he's a guy that, even if at the end of the game you look and he may have 25 points or he may have 7 points, but how he affects the game is still probably going to be the same. So he just kind of allows our guys, to be in the right positions because he's always in the right position, kind of deal. Plays extremely hard, and he's just one of those kids that every coach wants to have. So we're lucky to have Manny, not only on the basketball court, but in our community and our school here at Riley High School.
All right, and then we're going to talk about one more guy. Another guy that kind of came along quietly, Peyton Baird, 6'5". He's going to be a senior last year, 9 points, just about 5 rebounds a game. Let's talk about his process or his progress here at Riley over the last few years.
Yeah, that's one that, as a coach, you look back and you say, I'm glad I didn't give up on that one because there was definitely an opportunity to do so. He's a guy that, credit to himself, he just kept coming around, and so kept working on his skill. He wasn't around as a freshman, but got him as a sophomore. He had grown a few inches, and you could see some skill was there. We had some Bambi moments where he's just trying to put things together and figure out how to move his body. But in the last year and a half, he's really started to put it together. He just signed a full ride scholarship to Bethel University down the road, and so really excited for him about that. But he's a guy, great athlete. He's shooting the ball really well right now. You can move him around, do different things with him. And he's kind of unorthodox in his play. He kind of right hand dominant and kind of weaves his way around to the basket. But he's a guy that's going to take a big jump this year, no doubt. He's put in a lot of work, and he's very deserving. So.
All right, so now I'm going to throw you a little curveball. We talked about Marv, Manny, and Peyton. Give me one more guy that maybe the name isn't popping up on the scouting reports, right? But somebody that might just surprise people this year.
Yeah. Well, I think that, one, we have some new faces. So there's a lot of guys that I think we're going to be able to plug in and use in different ways. But the one guy that kind of an unsung hero a lot of times for us is Keyshawn Wright. He's small in stature, but he plays big. He's fun to watch. Like if you're at a Riley basketball game, he's one kid that's going to catch your eye. He is flying up and down the court. He puts maximum effort into everything we do. He's a quiet kid, but he leads us in a lot of ways. He's dynamic with the ball. He just makes our team better. And so he's a kid that at the end of the day, the stat line may not show exactly what he's done, but he's a very important piece to what we have going on.
Yeah, looking at his numbers from last year, they don't necessarily jump out at you, but one of the good stats that does jump out at me is he had a 2-to-1 assist ratio, which obviously is important when you're talking about your point guard. So let's just talk about the season a little bit now, Coach. We're going to jump right into things once it gets started. It doesn't really slow down, right? We've got our first scrimmage against Westview that's coming up next week. But the first game is going to be on the 21st at LaPorte. They finished 17-7 last year, but they graduated 2 of their top scorers. So just talk about the mentality going into that first game. You don't know maybe a whole lot about yourself. You don't know a whole lot about the other team necessarily. So what's your mentality going into a season opener?
Yeah, I think, well, at this point, we have the advantage just because we've been together. So we have an older group that should know some things and not going to be too caught up in the moment. So anytime you're playing the first game, there's some uncertainty. There's uncertainty about your opponent, but we want to concentrate really on ourselves and make sure that we've checked the boxes and we're prepared for what we have going on. We want to obviously cover LaPorte and make sure that we know the personnel and those kinds of things. But we're going to go into that game with some unknown. But I feel like if we take care of ourselves, we'll put ourselves in a really good position. So feel confident about that, and I'm excited to get started.
So you're a guy that's you've been around the area for a while. You're obviously very involved in the community. I'm a guy that grew up here, so obviously know a lot of people everywhere that I go right now. I'm in the barber shop or I'm in the grocery store or wherever I'm at. I've got people in my ear just talking about, oh, you guys are going to be good this year, and the expectations are high. How do you handle that as a coach, and how do you handle it as a team when people are starting to look at you and have those expectations?
Yeah, I think there's a fine line between being confident and staying humble. We want to make sure that we have a confident group. At the same time, there's plenty of things out there that we have not accomplished. So I understand that at times when you look at the roster, it looks like things could trend in the right direction. But this group has a lot of unfinished business. We're going to make sure that they know that. This group hasn't won an outright conference title. We haven't won a sectional championship. There's plenty of things that we want to accomplish this season. So we're going to continue to put those things in front of people, or in front of them, and try to make sure that we're accomplishing those things throughout the year. I understand that there may be some hype, and our guys definitely see that, hear that, and but we want to stay uh, right in the middle there, not too high, not too low, and make sure we're accomplish things that we've set out to this season.
So aside from all the hype and all the talk out in the community, how about you specifically as the head coach? What are your expectations? Maybe want to make some predictions or
No predictions
no
today,
predictions?
but at the end of the day, I want a group that when people come watch us play, that they enjoy watching us play because we play with heart and we play hard and defensive-minded team that can put points up in a hurry. I think we can play a fun style of basketball. We do have sights on a conference championship and a sectional championship. Like our run in 2021, and after you win that sectional, you kind of just get the opportunity to play again, right? And anything can happen at that point. So we want to get back in that position. For me, when you look at coaching 14 to 18-year-old kids, and I don't think that we really know the effect that we have on them until 10 years down the road when we see kind of what it is they're doing and how they're handling themselves and what they're doing in our community. So that's the ultimate goal, is to make sure that we're pouring into these kids and developing them, not just on the basketball court, but off the court as well. And so, that's kind of our process every day. The wins and the losses come along with it, but we want to make sure that we're mentoring these kids and setting them up for success.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we have thrown a whole lot of information at you already here in this first episode, so I think we're going to go ahead and close up shop. But we will be back next week. So the Cat's Corner is going to be a weekly program. We'll be releasing a new episode every Monday. So by the next time we meet, we will have had our scrimmage against Westview, and we'll be, I believe, just days away at that point then from our opener at LaPorte. So we'll have lots to cover then. And into the season, we will continue to cover all things boys basketball related. We'll have your highlights, we'll have your stats, we'll have player interviews, and of course, we'll have the big cat himself, Alex Daniel, here at the desk talking basketball, which is what we all love. So until the next episode, stay tuned to all of our social media channels. Going to be lots more information and content there all the time. And until then, as always, go Cats.